It used to be that most everybody made a large, performance-based, rear-wheel drive biased family sedan, and then lots of people have gotten out of the game, leaving the Germans.
This is the BMW 430i Gran Coupe. This car confirms my love for BMWs.
The 4 Series is supposed to be a 2-door car, but then you put 4 doors on it and you called it the Gran Coupe, and oh look, we have a whole new model!
You want something that is a good driving experience, is 4 doors, but has the benefits of a hatch.
And into this area comes Kia. Of all people, I didn't expect Kia to be the one to be like, you know what, that's a segment we'd like to be in. But here they are with the Kia Stinger.
Finally, the Kia Stinger. This is the GT2, all-wheel drive, fully loaded as it is $52,000. Now that's not inexpensive, but it's inexpensive for what you get.
Who's gonna think of Kia in this market? And if they do, is there gonna be badge snobbery? Honestly, are we going to not consider this car because it says Kia on the hood? Now, one of the things about this show that we've done from the beginning is we've always said to each other, okay, if the car had no badge, if we didn't have any idea what it was, is it a good car? Forget the Kia badge for a minute. Let's just talk about how this competes with the other car that's here.
We're evaluating cars based on what the model is, not what the badge is. So fully loaded as it is, this car, $51,000.
You could have a strong argument and say that the 440 should be here in this test against the Kia because the engine and power stats more directly match that Kia. That's true, except this 430, loaded up with the M Sport pack and the stuff you really want, is within $1,000 of the price of that fully loaded Kia.
These two car companies are coming from diametrically opposed positions in the automotive industry, two different perspectives. One high and mighty on top trying to do this, and one way down here, at least in everybody's minds, trying to make this luxury sport brand new category. They've never tried it before. Hope it works.
The car you drive every day should be fun, but it has to do the boring stuff too, like commute, be affordable, and haul your groceries.
You can have both, and we'll help you find it. Fun to drive cars and great driving experiences for everyone on Everyday Driver.
Brought to you by Covercraft. If you look at the profile of these two cars, you can see why they are in the same market segment. They have almost exactly the same silhouette. Of course, they're both hidden hatches. That means they actually slope toward the rear after the B-pillar, and that can restrict headroom.
But I feel of any car company, BMW is most locked into, well, these are the elements we have to have. We've got to have the kidney grills. We've got to have the Hofmeister kink. These are the elements. This is the guide. Here's how to design the car. Here's how to do it. They've done the same thing on the interior. Let's copy and paste the instrument panel and the interior stack. This is exactly the same on their most expensive 7 Series, and it's the same on their most entry-level car.
BMW is one of those manufacturers where their seats actually have plenty of support if you're driving it hard, and yet for long distances, they're still surprisingly comfortable. It's not just the front seats that are better in the BMW, the back seats are better. However, the Kia has more room, both for headroom and for legroom, than you get in the back of the 4. This Kia, especially from the front and the front 3/4, has presence. It has menace in a great way. This tiger styling that Kia's been doing is best realized in this car. I'm not as in love with the back. It feels a bit melted to me, but in side profile and especially from the front, I think this car has genuine aggression and is actually very beautiful.
What I love the most is, despite its size, look at the language that Kia has introduced that it can lean on for all future models. Clean, simple shapes that are used on German cars. Look at the shut lines on the exterior. The back door, that rear shut line just goes right into the rear hatch. It's one single shut line and it cleans it up.
Because this isn't an interior we've seen a million times, it kind of feels new and interesting. They've chosen some nice places for this great stereo. The speakers, the buttons, the touch points, everything definitely feels like it's been German influenced. It's not an incredibly beautiful cabin, but it's really well constructed, and the materials here are very nice. I actually think these buttons here in the center console, these silver buttons, they look a little bit cheap, but they don't feel cheap. We get in a lot of cars where the materials and the design don't feel like what the car cost. This lives up to its price point. Seats in the front and back aren't as good as the BMW here, but there is more room across the board, both in the front and especially in the rear. One of the surprising downsides is the rear visibility of this car. In the rearview mirror, you're looking down a tunnel to finally see out the back glass, and if you look over either shoulder, you'll be shocked at how much of the car's structure is just blocking your view.
A car this good looking cannot drive terribly. It cannot be down on power.
This 430i is proof that power figures do not tell the story. This car feels much quicker in general and far quicker in comparison to the Kia than you would expect looking at the huge difference in power numbers. This is the chassis from BMW's current 4 Series. You could go all the way up to the M4. This is the same essential chassis. But here, as the 430, means it has their 4-cylinder with about 250 horsepower, 250 pound-feet of torque.
Just think of it as BMW's inline 6 with a couple of cylinders missing. I am very much agreeing with anybody who claims, and dyno tests proving, that BMW undersells the power output on their engines. It makes so much power, you're not going to miss bigger and better trim levels. For the same money, you get over 100 horsepower more in the Stinger than you do in this car.
This 430i is proof that power figures do not tell the story. This car feels much quicker in general and far quicker in comparison to the Kia than you would expect looking at the huge difference in power numbers. That big twin turbo in the Kia does walk away from this, but you can't drive this car and come away thinking, yeah, that's underpowered and slow. It's genuinely quick. And anytime you need it, there's power out of this engine. They've done a great job of extracting it out of this drivetrain. BMW has really mastered that setup.
So combined with that, the M Sport package, and we both agree, we wouldn't buy a BMW without an M Sport package. You've got to go Sport Plus, but even the downshifts still are not quick enough for me.
This ZF transmission and the way BMW has it set up, it's not a dual clutch, but it almost is. It feels incredibly quick. It always listens to what you want. That explains why BMW is thinking they might not do the dual clutch anymore.
It's still just an automatic. It's going to be a little sluggish. Dual clutch needs to be in everything. Come on.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
We have to talk about the power in this car. The GT2 has the 365 horsepower twin turbo. Yeah, BMW's got their twin scroll, twin power, twin whatever, but nothing's like a twin turbo. This car has buckets of personality. It roars, and it's only a V6. It's an astounding amount of horsepower and unbelievably just flattening amount of torque. We've put the whole, and it's a Kia surprise face aside. We're setting that over here because we're fully embracing what Kia has done.
This car's deceivingly quick. And wow, okay, that's a big number. When the cop pulls you over and says, you know how fast you were going, if you had the head-up display on, you now have to lie when you say, no, not really, well, how fast is I going? Because it's right there in big gold letters, you can't miss it. 8-speed automatic in this car as well, but this is a Kia in-house automatic. The combination of this twin turbo 3.3 liter V6 and this transmission means that every now and then it just kind of takes a breath and then it blows your head off.
Keep telling me that it's great for a Kia. Keep looking down your nose at this car because it's going to pass you at very high speed and with a lot of German precision.
Driven in isolation, this transmission and engine combination will simply wow you. It's only back-to-back with that BMW that you think, okay, there's a little bit of work to do here. And this is a genuinely powerful car. 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds in a large, almost full-size family sedan. And with the usable hatch, honestly, stop buying SUVs. Get one of these.
So well engineered and so well built. You've got to do a lot to get this car rocked back on its heels and upset and off balance.
The BMW feel that we all kind of think we know, that's what you get when you get the M Sport Pack back on any of their models. Without that, honestly, the reputation does not hold up. With the M Sport Pack, generally, they do really well.
You can feel the foundation of what BMW is built on. It feels so solid, so well engineered, and so well built. You've got to do a lot to get this car rocked back on its heels and upset and off balance.
With rear-wheel drive and this small, light four-cylinder up front, the handling on this 430 is really great. It feels much lighter than it actually is and is incredibly chuckable. On one level, 3,600 pounds is not a very light car. But among modern cars, all the stuff that we require on it for safety and technology, that's kind of middle of the road.
Why do you have to have an extra package? The M Sport Pack, with its extra performance, to make it live up to what the BMW name is. That's my biggest complaint about this car.
I do think some real texture has been lost in BMW's electric steering. They used to have so much information flooding through your hands. Now it's incredibly precise. There's nothing to take away from it on sheer precision, but information from the wheel, well, it's lacking. A lot has gone away. Tires are like a silent assassin. They get the job done, but they never say a thing. I like small cars. I don't mind cars that have stiff suspensions and bounce around a bit. However, in this market segment, I think you want it to just smooth out the road and still give you confidence. So the BMW is asking you to rest a little bit. It's grounded and it's precise, but it bounces all over the place compared to the Kia. And I'm really disappointed and surprised by that.
This car doesn't have very much roll in it. Any body roll is counteracted by how hard this car turns in. But I am noticing in modern cars, in the modern BMWs, the brake pedal has gotten squishier, it's gotten softer. I'm questioning that. I'm questioning going to modern tech. It's taking the feel, what I want, out of the car.
Interestingly, once Kia decided it wanted to fight with the Germans, it got strategic. The designer of this car is the long-term designer for Kia that came to them from Audi. The person in charge of dynamics for this car came to them in 2014 from, you guessed it, BMW. I didn't expect the dynamics of this car to be as good as they are. The BMW is definitely lighter on its feet. It feels smaller all the time. However, this gives an amazing amount of confidence because it's just stuck to the road. At high speed, this Kia is incredibly confidence-inspiring because it absorbs those bumps. And in this all-wheel drive version, the front end with any kind of power really scrabbles hard to just tuck its way in.
It doesn't hide its weight and its size. It just bashes right through all that and produces impressive driving and honestly taken the road better than the BMW. I like the sporty nature of the BMW suspension setup, but this one is unruffled by the undulations and, frankly, the poor pavement here in this road. What a car. The engineers had a great time, I'm sure, tuning up this car on the ring, one of Todd and I's favorite places. Now, there's not a lot of information coming through the steering wheel, but there is crisp turn-in. By virtue of the variable ratio steering rack, it turns in pretty dramatically, so it feels like this car's got good handling. I liken that to the all-wheel drive system here, which has a party trick up its sleeve.
This is a big girl that can dance. You will be surprised at how agile this Kia is. And because it absorbs bumps so well, you start to get used to it and you get faster and faster and you don't realize it because you're just becoming comfortable with the car. And then you look down and go, am I really going that fast? Because it just soaked it all up and made it easy. I would expect BMW, kings of the performance sedan, to have made a car that actually rides better than this. If you leave this in sport mode and you put the BMW in comfort mode and you're driving both down a bumpy freeway, this still rides better.
It's a bold move for Kia here.
And it comes to the market complete.
I'm fascinated by the market, the industry, and where the industry is going, because no longer is it just the typical 3-box design. It's got the hatch, it's got the room, it's got space back there. I'm thinking family, kids, this is your commuter car, this is the do-it-all, this is a surprising driver's car too. I thought the BMW was just going to be kind of forgettable, and that's not the case. And the Gran Coupe styling that is now applied to this car works, but I'm finding it to be clinical.
I know BMW's known for the straight six, but there's an argument here. Forget the smaller engine, the lighter front end, and just enjoy. I really want a car to handle incredibly well, and that kind of trumps everything. But if you're shopping for the family car, handling is important, but it's got to do the other stuff too. That's where I think the Kia really leaves this. This car can almost feel jittery at times.
Here is this car at $52,000, as much stuff as you can get. So my question to you is, which one would you choose? Because if you're up for new things, the Stinger might be for you. Everything about it is bold. We're just trying it, says Kia. People paid attention designing and building this car.
I am incredibly impressed. Out of the box, Kia has done such a good job on this car across the board. It's not perfect, no car's perfect. I wish the seats were a little bit better, especially the base of the seats was a little bit better. I wish the car felt somehow smaller when you pushed it hard. It doesn't, it keeps feeling big. But forget what the badge is. This is a great family sedan that is really fun to drive.
Here we are comparing these two cars. I was really looking forward to the Stinger, and I'm not disappointed. But this is the car that is on Kia's website, along with the Audi S5, and they're comparing to all the German cars. Well, they've got a Lexus on there too, but they're comparing themselves. They started it, but with good reason here. I knew it when I shut the door at the Frankfurt Motor Show and I sat in this car. I knew it. I knew it was going to be a good car.
You and doors. I mean, it's a door. It's just a door.
It tells you a lot. Just like watches tell you about a certain kind of connoisseur.
Yeah, watches tell you lots about people. Anyway, yeah.
I knew this car was going to bring the noise, and it did. It did not disappoint. It's a big car.
Yeah,
it can't be all things to all people. It's a bold move for Kia here.
And it comes to the market complete. I actually think attitude-wise, it starts to be like a Charger. It starts to be more in that area than the Mercedes and the BMWs of the world. This car surprised me, honestly, because bringing this is the same price.
Which is astounding,
100 down in horsepower and torque. I expected it to be a disappointment.
It's good. It's really good, but it's predictable. In a BMW, we know it's going to be good way, and then along comes this and surprises us.
Well, I think that dynamically, just in sheer driving fun, probably wins, and I think the 4-cylinder helps it because it feels light and small.
I agree to that.
However, in this market segment, where we're buying a car now that has a hidden hatch, that is the SUV alternative that I think we're all looking for. If you're a dad out there, don't buy the minivan, don't buy the crossover, buy a fun sedan that actually has a hatch. The room in this is better than a lot of those mid-size CUVs.
It even says on the The owner's manual, that book, that flappy thing, it says the power to surprise. Like, they know it.
There we go.
We know it. Now you know it. It's excellent. I want it to be just that much more. I want to get out and be leaping and yelling and excited about owning this car. But it's going to be restrained. It's going to be, you know, the Germans, they're going to pull it back a little bit, and that's what they've done here.
I'm a guy that handling kind of rules all, but if you're buying the family car, I have to admit that's not the only thing you're shopping for. I think ride and room and sheer grunt, the Kia just walks away with this. Plus, it's a nicer place to be. I'd rather be in the Kia. What does that say?
For all things considered, overall, such a great car. So they're coming from the bottom and they're making this aspirational car. That's why the Stinger wins for me.
This car is doing for the 4 and 5 Series BMWs what the Alfa Giulia is doing to the 3 Series. It's just showing up with a badge that's surprising on the hood and going, you want to play? Because I'm ready.
You can find great products for your car at covercraft.com.
Plus, free shipping for our audience with the code EVERYDAY.